Greetings students. Today's topic for the day for the subject Legal and Constitutional History for BLLB third semester student are a brief introduction or a preface to the administration of Warren Hastings, Adalat System and defects of Supreme Court. A brief summary. So let us understand the Adalat System. The East India Company acquired the province of Bengal and Orissa in 1765. Adalat System was introduced in the year 1772. So, under the Mughal rule, each unit was a Suba having two officials. One official was Nawab, whose role was of a military head who was in charge of the administration of criminal justice, and the second official was Diwan, whose role was to collect the taxes or the revenue. The transfer of Diwani meant that the transfer of civil and revenue powers, because civil and revenue powers all came under the jurisdiction of Diwani, and all the military powers and the administration went under the power of the Nawab. The maintenance of the army was taken over by company, which was appointed for the collection of the tax or the Diwani. And the company took over all the Diwani function. Now, Warren Hastings himself, being the first Governor General, gave a new shape to the entire system. The Mughal Empire had a good structure and they had different kind of courts. But the problem with the judicial system that existed under the Mughal rule was that they had various complicated laws and it was very much exploited at a large scale. Certain laws that were employed were irrational and functions became very unsatisfactory. Under such poor and deplorable condition, Warren Hastings had to introduce the judicial plans in the year 72 and in 1774. And this judicial plan brought a certain positive change in the domains of the jurisdiction or judicial power. Now, let us see the summary of a judicial plan of 1772 and 1774. The Regulating Act of 1772 formed underneath the British Code. The plan aimed at correcting the defects without destroying the local custom. So, when judicial plan was introduced, it did not completely uproot the local custom or the local law, but it tried to eradicate the problem that was causing the shortcomings. Therefore, local laws existed, but only the eradication occurred to the defects that worked as an obstruction to the existing laws. And Bengal, Bihar and Orissa were divided under districts, and each district was appointed underneath the jurisdiction of a collector. Further, in each district, separate and following courts were established. Now, lastly, we tend to see certain defects of the Supreme Court. Of course, there were certain shortcomings of the Supreme Court too, and that is the only reason why Supreme Court failed to decline. Supreme Court declined. Number one, vagueness and serious omissions of the law to be applied created serious consequences. So what we tend to see, there was confusion and the implementation of law was very unsatisfactory. People were not clear about what laws existed and what law or the administration was all about. So it was full of vagueness and confusion existed supreme. Secondly, it was ambiguous in nature. The company considered itself immune from the jurisdiction, but the Supreme Court held it under jurisdiction. So this led to complication of cases. Now we see that the company considered itself immune from the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, but Supreme Court held the company under its own jurisdiction. So there was a constant clash that went on underneath the domains of administration when it came between the existence of Supreme Court and the company. So this confusion and this vagueness and this ambiguous nature of the laws or the existing laws between the Supreme Court and the company created a hell lot of problem. Thirdly, it was not clear whether the zamindars who collected revenues or taxes were the servants of the company, because the Supreme Court held them under the jurisdiction, but they did not, leading to another conflict. So here we also tend to see the same problem that we were discussing in the second point. That was even that zamindar who collected taxes considered themselves immune from the jurisdiction of Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court considered them under their own jurisdiction. So finally, the conclusion we draw is vagueness, confusion, and ambiguity reigned supreme underneath the jurisdiction of Supreme Court. Neither the company nor the feudal lords or the servants could not fathom who came under the jurisdiction of Supreme Court. So this confusion and ambiguity finally led to the decline of the Supreme Court, because all these concluded to a final conflict, and finally the conflict led to some kind of the decline of the Supreme Court. So this will be for it today. Thank you, class.